imagine you want to show someone like how much you really value them.
Okay.
And to truly honor them, you build this beautiful, totally impenetrable glass museum case,
Oh, wow.
right? And you place them incredibly carefully inside it. You label the case angel, you label it superhero.
See where this is going.
Yeah, and you tell everyone who walks by, how incredibly valuable they are. But eventually, this really dark realization sets in. You haven't actually honored them at all.
You've just trapped them.
Exactly. You've crapped them. You've made it completely impossible to reach out or touch them or actually engage with them as a living, breathing human being.
Yeah.
So today, whether you are prepping for a meeting, trying to catch up on some reading, or just insanely curious about human nature, we are breaking the glass.
You really are. And it is a completely necessary shattering because the text we're diving into today, it forces us to confront that exact instinct.
Right.
We're looking at these excerpts from a really profound piece called The Restoration of Her Humanity.
Such a powerful title.
It is. And it essentially examines the whole cultural mythology we've built around, well, the mother. And more importantly, what it takes to strip away that myth and uncover the deeply complex person underneath.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we're not doing a dry literary analysis today.
Definitely not.
This text is, it's basically a shortcut to a massive aha moment about how we view the people who care for us the most.
Yeah, it really shifts your whole perspective.
It does. And the goal for this deep dive is to extract the essential nuggets of this text. To figure out how to restore her humanity, the author makes it really clear. We first have to understand how we strip it away in the first place.
Right.
The text states it so plainly. It says, she is not more or less. She is just as human.
Just as human. I mean, it sounds so simple, right?
It's almost too simple.
But the author argues that recognizing that simple fact is actually a refusal of what the text calls the twin distortions.
The twin distortions.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is that society rarely looks at a mother and just, sees a person. We almost always default to one of two extremes.
Okay, what's the first one?
So the first distortion is pedestaling, which is exactly that glass case you mentioned earlier.
Right, the museum exhibit.
Exactly. It's rendering her mythic, untouchable, all-giving. But then the second distortion is diminishment.
Oh, wow. Diminishment.
Yeah, which strips her of depth and consequence. It basically treats her like the background furniture of life.
The text actually calls both of these extremes erasures.
Erasures, yes.
It calls them a failure of witness. And when I first read that phrase, failure of witness, it stopped me in my tracks.
It's heavy.
It is, because we usually think of pedestaling as like a supreme compliment. Like pedestaling someone is like putting a rare book in a glass museum case. Sure, you're elevating it, but you're also making it impossible to actually open, read, or engage with.
It's a perfect way to put it.
Right. If I call the mother in my life a superhero, I think I'm praising her.
Right, and the intention usually is praise. We mean well. But let's think about the function of a superhero for a second.
Okay.
If you are a superhero, you don't need rest.
Oh, true.
If you're an angel, you don't have messy or conflicting desires. You don't have bad days. You don't harbor resentment. And you certainly don't need someone to take care of you.
No. Yeah, superheroes don't get burned out.
Exactly. So when we pedestal someone, we are failing to witness their actual reality. We refuse to see that she carries this immense psychological weight.
The author has this incredibly poetic line for that weight. It says she carries the contradiction and the longing that has no clean name.
The longing that has no clean name.
Yeah.
And if you put someone in that glass case, you can't see the times when the thread back to her own center goes slack.
That line right there, let's ground that poetic phrase because it is so important.
Yeah, let's do it.
The thread back to her own center going slack, what that actually looks like on the ground is, staring blankly at the kitchen wall after the kids are finally asleep.
Oh, yeah, completely dissociate.
Completely. Because you spent the last 16 hours vibrating at everyone else's frequency.
Yeah.
And you've, momentarily forgotten who you are.
Yeah.
The superhero myth just doesn't allow for that moment.
It really doesn't. And on the flip side, neither does the other distortion. Diminishment.
Right. The background furniture.
Yeah, diminishment assumes she has no internal life beyond the tasks she performs for other people.
Which is wild.
It is. So whether she is a superhero up in the sky or a servant in the background, the result is basically identical.
She gets erased either way.
Exactly. She isn't allowed to just be a human standing right in front of us experiencing this unnamed longing while simultaneously having to hold the people around her together.
So if we acknowledge that treating her as, a machine or a myth is a failure, it makes me wonder how she got reduced to this function in the first place.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Like, was she always viewed this way?
Hmm.
Which leads us to the next vital concept in the text. We move from what she isn't to the journey of how she came to be.
Right. And the author calls this the geography of her becoming.
The geography of her becoming.
Yeah. And it explicitly pushes back against this whole idea of her as a pure function. The text states, it says the mother is not a function. She is not the role before the person.
Right.
And to illustrate how she actually arrives at this role, the author uses this gorgeous sweeping imagery. It says she arrived at mothering the way water arrives at the sea.
Okay, I want to pause there because well, I'm struggling a bit to reconcile that poetry with reality.
Okay, how so?
Like water arriving at the sea is a beautiful image. It implies this slow, natural carving through solid rock, picking up silt. It implies being shaped by time, pressure, love, and loss.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests she turns toward another life with her fullness intact.
Yes, her fullness intact.
But let's talk about, say, a typical Tuesday morning at 7:15 a.m.
Oh boy, yeah, the reality check.
Right. Someone can't find their left shoe, the permission slip isn't signed, the toast is burning, complete chaos. And in that moment, society and her family, honestly, almost requires the function to come first.
Yeah, they do.
Like, nobody has time to appreciate the river carving through the rock when the bus is coming in 3 minutes. They need a machine to keep daily life running.
Absolutely.
So isn't the function inevitably what we have to see first?
So let's sit with that friction for a second, because that Tuesday morning scenario is the exact reality the text is trying to disrupt.
Okay.
Yes, the immediate environment demands the logistics. Capitalism, the modern school system, the nuclear family structure,
Sarah?
they all relentlessly demand the logistical function of the mother. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, confusing that required survival mechanic with her actual core identity is exactly why society fails her.
Okay, explain that distinction a bit more. Because why is it a failure to focus on the function if the function is what's keeping the house from burning down?
Well, because a machine doesn't need comfort.
Oh,
Right. A function doesn't need a hug after that Tuesday morning rush is finally over.
that's true. You don't hug a toaster.
Exactly. The text offers this profound reminder. It says, the mother holds, but she also needs holding.
She needs holding.
Yes. When we demand the function and completely ignore the intense emotional journey that brought her to the point where she could even execute that function, we deny her the holding she needs.
Wow.
So the author calls for replacing the machine with an archetype made honest.
An archetype made honest. I really love that phrasing.
Yeah. An honest archetype isn't a robot executing morning tasks flawlessly. It's a deeply formed, complex human who gives immense care, but who absolutely requires care in return.
That makes a lot of sense. It takes the pressure off, playing a flawless role and puts
Yeah.
the focus back on being a person who has endured this massive shaping process.
Exactly.
And because she is this deeply formed person, shaped by all that time and pressure, her emotional capacity expands.
It does. It has to.
Which brings us to a really fascinating shift in the text. We transition from her internal journey of becoming to her deep, almost porous connection with the outside world.
Right. The author suggests that just as she is not more or less than human, the world is not more or less than she is.
They're on the same level.
Exactly. They're operating on the same level. The specific phrase used is that she and the world are in the same key.
In the same key. The text gets very poetic again here.
It really does.
It says the world, too, has seasons of forgetting and seasons of return, and that the world was mothered by older forces.
Right. Things like the dark interior of the earth, the turning that never stops.
Yeah. And when you translate that out of the poetry, I think it's talking about our human tendency to isolate ourselves, to forget our connection to nature and to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And because she and the world are in the same key, she feels that deeply. When she grieves, the text says it feels atmospheric.
Atmospheric.
Like weather, like pressure arriving from a direction with no compass name.
And then the text delivers this crucial line. It says she is not exaggerating. She is simply that porous, that continuous with what surrounds her.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because when someone's emotions fill a room like a sudden change in atmospheric pressure, people get incredibly uncomfortable.
Oh, intensely uncomfortable.
Right. And I was trying to think of a mechanical equivalent for this, and it hit me. When her grief changes the pressure in the room, It's like she's a human barometer.
Oh, a human barometer, that is spot on.
Right. Now, a barometer isn't broken just because the needle drops and warns you a massive storm is coming.
No, it's doing its job.
Exactly. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
It's just highly sensitive to the atmosphere. We don't take a hammer and smash the barometer when it predicts a storm. We prepare for the rain.
Yeah.
But psychologically, when it comes to human beings, we hate the barometer.
We really do.
We want to smash it because it forces us to, cancel our emotional comfort.
The barometer is the perfect analogy for how society reacts. We absolutely want to smash it. Or we want to fix the needle so it just points back to sunny.
Exactly. Make it sunny again.
But the text makes profound distinction regarding this reaction. It states that this atmospheric grief, this intense porousness to the world, is not pathology. It is attunement.
Okay, let's break down the difference between those two words.
Mm.
Because they completely change the lens through which we view emotional depth.
They do.
Pathology versus attunement.
So pathology implies a disease, right?
Like something is medically wrong.
Exactly. It implies a malfunction, a brokenness, and most importantly, it implies that something needs a cure.
Okay.
Historically, when a woman, and specifically a mother, expresses deep, unnamed grief or an overwhelming emotional response to the world, society's immediate instinct is to pathologize it.
Oh, for sure. Like, what's wrong with her?
Exactly. She's being hysterical. She needs to calm down. She needs medication to fix her mood.
Wow, yeah.
We treat her emotional depth as a medical problem that needs to be eradicated.
Right. We treat her like the broken barometer that needs to be recalibrated so it just stops bothering us.
But attunement implies something entirely different.
What does it imply?
It implies a deep, resonant connection. It means she is vibrating at the frequency of the world around her. She feels the weight of the world, not because she is ill, but because she is paying acute attention.
Wow. She's continuous with her surroundings.
Exactly. So calling it attunement instead of pathology completely shifts our required response.
Right, because you don't cure someone's attunement.
No, you honor it.
So what does this all mean for the people around her?
That is the big question.
If we accept that her grief is atmospheric, if we accept that she is attuned rather than broken, how are we supposed to actually support her?
Thankfully, the source text doesn't leave us hanging on that.
Oh, good.
It gives us a blueprint for this in a section centered around the concept of stand by me. And it completely redefines what that phrase actually means.
It does. It says there is a kind of presence that does not fix, does not explain, and does not arrive with answers in hand.
Right.
It simply stands. Stand by me is not a request for a rescue mission, but for accompaniment.
Accompaniment. That's such a distinct word choice.
Is. Not a savior. Not a mechanic arriving with a toolbox to tighten the loose screws. A companion.
It defines this accompaniment as the grace of someone who doesn't leave when the room gets hard to be in.
Which is so rare.
It is. And crucially, it's someone who doesn't require her to perform okayness in exchange for their presence.
Perform okayness. Wow.
The text points out that this steadiness, this willingness to remain in the unanswerable question, is exactly what the mother gives to others when she is at her best.
Right.
But she needs it in return. She needs to be able to say, without words, I do not need you to fix this. I need you to stay.
I want to push on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it sounds so beautiful and simple, but in practice, it is agonizingly difficult.
Oh, incredibly difficult.
Think about walking into the kitchen and sensing that heavy, awful tension from someone you love. The air is thick.
Yeah.
Your first instinct is almost always to jump in and say, what's wrong? How can I help? Can we just figure this out and solve it?
We all do it.
Why is it so agonizingly hard for human beings to just stay? Why is our knee-jerk reaction always to jump in with a toolbox and try to fix her grief?
This raises an important question about human psychology and, frankly, our own selfishness.
Selfishness, okay.
Yeah. When you walk into that kitchen and the person you love is experiencing atmospheric grief, when the pressure is heavy and there are no quick, clean answers, that environment causes a massive spike in your own nervous system.
Oh, interesting.
It is incredibly uncomfortable for you, the observer.
You feel totally helpless. The ambiguity is just terrible.
You feel entirely helpless. Your anxiety skyrockets. So when you rush in with that toolbox, when you start offering unsolicited advice or trying to rationalize their pain away, you have to realize that you aren't actually doing it to soothe them.
Really?
You're doing it to soothe yourself.
Oh, wow.
You want to fix their problem rapidly so that the room becomes comfortable for you again.
That is a tough pill to swallow.
Oh.
Our instinct to help is often just a selfish desire to eliminate our own discomfort.
It is deeply selfish. The text specifically calls out the cruelty of requiring someone to perform okayness.
Right.
If you can't tolerate the unresolved tension in the kitchen, you are basically forcing her to put on a fake smile, to shrink her complex atmospheric humanity down into a manageable box, just so you don't have to feel awkward anymore.
That's heartbreaking.
True accompaniment means tolerating your own intense discomfort so that she doesn't have to bear hers entirely alone.
Mm-hmm.
It is the willingness to sit in the dark and simply say, I am here, and we don't have to turn the lights on until you're ready.
Just think about how exhausting it is to constantly perform that okayness.
It's draining.
If she is already carrying the weight of the world, attuned to all that pressure, and then she also has to act like everything is perfectly fine just to manage the anxiety of everyone else in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no wonder the thread back to her own center snaps.
Exactly.
By refusing to just sit in the mess with her, we are actively draining whatever energy she has left.
Precisely. Which really brings us full circle to the very beginning of our analysis.
The glass case.
Yes. If true love is standing by her in the messiness, if it is about seeing her plainly without requiring her to perform, then we are left with a massive question.
Okay, what is it?
Why did our culture ever invent the mythic mother in the first place?
This is the ultimate thesis of the source material. We finally uncover the why behind the glass museum case.
We do.
The text says that seeing her plainly, not as more, not as less, but as just as human, is an act of profound love. And then it drops this incredible revelation. Mythology is a distance strategy.
Mythology is a distance strategy. That is a sentence to write down and stick on your mirror.
It really is.
Yeah.
The author explains that mythology places her on a separate plane where she doesn't actually need to be truly met.
Right.
The myth of the completely selfless, all-giving mother who never tires, never doubts, and never needs, it protects no one, least of all her.
No, it doesn't.
So think about the mothers in your life. Have you ever called them completely selfless as a compliment without realizing you were accidentally using a distance strategy?
It's a brilliant, if uncomfortable, synthesis of human behavior.
Yeah.
To see her plainly takes immense ongoing effort. It requires reciprocity. It requires you to tolerate discomfort, to accompany her in the dark, to recognize her complex needs.
It's hard work.
It is so much easier to mythologize someone. If she is an all-giving superhero, then you don't owe her anything.
Right.
You don't have to do the hard work of attuning to her weather. You just get to comfortably consume her care.
Because superheroes don't need accompaniment. They don't need you to sit in the kitchen and hold their hand while they cry.
Exactly. The myth of the selfless mother is a shield society uses to avoid the hard work of true relationship. It keeps her at a safe distance.
Wow.
The text concludes by stating that seeing her as real, complex, and worthy of the same quality of attention she gives everything else is the whole of it. And that is everything.
The whole of it.
Yeah, because dismantling that distance strategy is the only way to force us into true connection. It is the ultimate form of giving back the attention she has poured into the world.
It forces us to meet her exactly where she is. Not locked in a glass case on a pedestal, not diminished to a background Tuesday morning function, but right in front of us.
Exactly.
Complex, porous, attuning to the world, and asking us to just stand by her. What an incredibly challenging and eliminating journey this text takes us on.
It really is.
We started by recognizing the trap of those twin distortions, pedestaling and diminishing. We watched her evolve, shaped by time and pressure like water arriving at the sea. We learned to reframe her massive emotional capacity, not as a broken barometer needing a cure, but as a profound atmospheric attunement. And finally, we learned the difficult grace of accompaniment, of tolerating our own discomfort to just stand by her without demanding she perform okayness for our benefit.
It truly is a masterclass in what it takes to witness another human being without flinching. But I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to mull over long after this deep dive ends.
Yeah.
The text gives us this powerful concept of mythology as a distance strategy, specifically applied to mothers. But let's expand that lens to your own life.
Right.
If mythology is a psychological tool we use to avoid the hard work of truly meeting someone, who else in your life are you turning into a one-dimensional myth?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is there a boss you view only as a tyrant? A romantic partner you've labeled as the perfect provider? A public figure, or perhaps even yourself, that you are keeping safely locked in a glass museum case? Who are you keeping on a pedestal because it's easier than dealing with their complex, messy, and atmospheric humanity?
Man, that is a question that requires some real honesty to answer. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. The world and the people in it are vastly complex, but taking the time to break the glass and understand them together makes it all a little less overwhelming. Keep witnessing each other plainly. We'll catch you next time.